the South African Post Office has announced an initiative which will allow patients of government clinics to receive their chronic medication at its branches. Now, the mail carrier says the service will be available at its 342 branches across the country, except for those located in the Western Cape. Well, for more on this and other matters facing the state-owned company, we're joined by CEO Nomkhita Mona, and she joins us via the virtual platform. Ms. Mona, thank you very much for your time. Let's start with why the Post Office believes that it can offer such services. Are you well capacitated?
Apologies, please complete your question.
All right. The question is, why do you think the Post Office can take over these services or can offer these services? Do you think you have staff who are well equipped to do this job?
Yes, I think firstly the reason why it is that we are playing in this space is that as the Post Office we see ourselves more than just a postal carrier and also a courier. We also see ourselves playing a very big role and a major role in the communities of South Africa. And we also see ourselves playing a partnership role with government. Where government is not able to reach its communities, we as the Post Office are very happy to step into that role. So in terms of capacity, the Post Office has almost 14,500 people working for it. So in terms of that capacity, we do have enough people that we can reskill, retrain, and redeploy into these areas.
Okay, well, that's a very crucial area you speak about, and that is that you have people that you will train, you will reskill. How soon do you expect to start providing these services and link that to the training that you anticipate to undertake?
Well, firstly, we started offering the service last year already on a smaller scale. I suppose the Department of Health wanted to see how we would fare in doing the work. And this year we have just joined or signed up a 5-year contract with them, which is the Department of Health, where we will be doing the service. So we started effectively on April 1, 2022. So we have actually been rolling out the service as far as we could.
Okay.
And in terms of training, it depends on what skill you require, because postal sector offices and tellers and people in the offices, they continue to do what they've always done. Remember, the Post Office is not distributing the medication. We are basically handing them over the counter to someone who's come to collect.
All right. And what's been the feedback in the communities where you have provided this service?
Where we have provided the service up to now, people are happy, which is also why the Department of Health has then entered into a longer-term contract with us. Because everything, like you know, probably, everything is about access. What is the closest where either a government service or even a private sector service can be found? So at this point, we are quite happy. As you did say, we're offering it at 342 of our branches at this point.
What about the finances? Are you well capitalized, if I could use those words, in order for you to roll out this service?
All right. So I think you're asking two questions, and in a sense, they are interlinked, but not quite. So we do have the infrastructure currently. So we have post offices everywhere. We have staff who are sometimes underutilized because, as I said, we are overstaffed in other areas. So in terms of actually doing that particular job, we are quite happy to do it, and we are able to do that. However, the financial and the capitalization question that you asked is a much broader one that I think all South Africans know by now, that the SA Post Office is not fully capacitated financially, but also there needs to be capitalization, but also even in terms of improving on our infrastructure, making sure that we maintain our buildings, and we are able to get to this level of being a service provider for government departments, plus also any other service the community requires. There needs to be capitalization for that.
Yeah. Well, There are people listening to this conversation who are just wondering, first of all, the post office does close a little too early for many people to get services there. And I say that because I'm one of those who does use your services in order to renew my car license, and I do find that you close quite early. People may come to you wanting that service, in particular medication, and they will find that you are closed. But also add to that, I know you said you are going to either train or reskill the people. The dispensing of wrong medication, that could be a fatal error for a patient. How confident do you think we should be as members of the public that you can genuinely roll out this service with no major hiccups?
Fortunately, the SA Post Office does not dispense. It does not get involved in the, which medication is in a packet. What actually happens is that the parcels, just like any other parcel or letter or the medication itself, is pre-packaged. It's pre-dispensed, if that's a word, and also by the time it gets to us, our job is really just to hand the parcel over to the right person. That's all we need to do. We do not open what's inside the packet. We do not know what medication it is, but also we don't even give medical advice because we are not trained for that. So that's the issue about the wrong medication potentially being given to someone will not happen at the SA Post Office. So that's not an issue whatsoever.
Okay. And final question to you. So the plan here is that this service will be available at all of your 342 post offices across the country. When is that likely to start being available broadly? In other words, covering all of these 342 offices. And why is it, by the way, that the Western Cape is not included here?
All right. Firstly, the SA Post Office has over 2,000 points of presence in the country. And when I say points of presence, there's about 1,400 post offices, but then we have agents all over to ensure that we reach the people. The 342 is a sample that was chosen by the Department of Health themselves on the basis of their need, where they know that they require presence for people to be able to go and collect. So at this point, we have contracted for those 342. So we will see how things go and whether we would need to expand into other areas. The question around the Western Cape is an issue that happens, depending on whether a department is nationally driven or usually departments are autonomous. So the autonomy stays within the province. So if you want to enter into a contract or agreement, you have to speak to the relevant province. So we have managed to do this with the other 8 provinces, and there are discussions with the 9th province being the Western Cape. But at this point, we don't have that agreement with them.
That's a very interesting response. Perhaps we should bring you another day to discuss that further. For the time being, I'll allow you to go off. We hope to bring you here into studio for much broader discussions involving the post office. It's a very, very important service. Nomkhita Mona is the CEO of the South African Post Office.